Drum roll. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Sandy's Bash Blog number 4. Good morning, everybody. Joining us this morning, okay, we have a special guest, a really good friend of mine. We go back a long way. Welcome and good morning, Brian Power.
Morning, Sandy. Great seeing you again today.
Absolutely fantastic. We've got a lot to talk about, Brian, haven't we?
Yeah, a lot to catch up on. Yeah, a lot to go through.
Just had a little brew in the canteen, and honestly, I mean, it was off the scales. The one thing, if anybody knows Brian Power, okay, and knows me, is that we're two crazy guys, and when you put two crazy guys together, you get double crazy. So we're going to have to try and tone it down today. I don't know how we're going to do this, but we'll have a
We've been told we have to be a little bit quieter than we normally are.
Yes, of course, because Next Door is obviously live on the radio too. So even if it's soundproofed, it doesn't help us. Anyway, let's go back with the thing. It is the 16th of the 5th, 2018, Sandy's Bash Blog 4. Let's talk about, okay, we've got two parallels to discuss today, Brian, and the parallels are, well, two things we are synonymous and known for is obviously Thai boxing,
yep,
which is one of your big passions, and training, which is obviously, again, you know, we share that. The second one is, interestingly, you work for a company called Bolton Carson, which was established in, I believe, 1981.
Yeah, over 37 years ago. Yeah.
Right, and that's ironically when we met.
We first met, yeah, because I don't know if you know, I don't know if a lot of people know that Sandy used to work for Warburtons, and he used to deliver bread, and we had a bakery, and it was my granddad's bakery, HK Beggs, and Sandy used to come in the morning, bouncing everywhere.
At what time? Just remind people,
6
please.
o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. And my granddad used to, my granddad and my dad used to give you baked egg custards at that time in the morning. That's all he came in. That's the only reason you came in for those baked egg. No, you were delivering bread.
Well,
yeah. So, but that was about 37 years ago as well.
Wow.
So, for the length of time that the BCC's been going, I've known you. So for 37 years, and it was bizarre because I only ever met Mike, who's your brother, who owns BCC, 3 years ago.
That's mad.
It's madness because I've been to your mum and dad's house, and I've been on holiday with you, and we've trained for such a long time, and you've even taught my daughter a bit on how to do some Thai boxing and stuff
Charlotte,
like that.
Yeah,
Charlotte, and Charlotte's fighting now. So it's really weird how we've got to this point. And we went like this, and we've come back like that. Yeah. It's bizarre.
It is bizarre, and it's really good to have you in this morning. I'm just touching on the subject. Your dad, who shares the same name, Brian Power Senior, and obviously your granddad. When I was just well, basically, I was a bread boy, and careful how you say that, as it was known back then, at Warburtons, as you said. And I worked as a van assistant. I was only 15, 16.
I thought you were in charge.
And no, I was. Well, no, actually, no, I was a bit older than that. I started at 15 at Warburtons. And what I was doing with what was the driver called? Who used to come
I can't remember his name.
And he was a bit of a fuddy-duddy, wasn't he?
He was a little bit more toned down.
Yeah,
and he couldn't cope. I don't think.
Couldn't handle me. And
couldn't handle your madness. No.
So I'll just give you a retrack how I met Brian. One of my fond memories of it was the top of Bray, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The bakery, HK Beggs, and all you could smell in the morning was the fabulous smell of bread, and anyone knows that, you know, when people selling houses, they bake a bit of bread, don't put coffee on. So, you know, I racked up at 6 o'clock in the morning with the driver, and I was learning what's called a spare driver then. And basically, I had to learn the route. So when he was off, because they get 4 days off a month, I used to do them. So, of course, I learned this. I was driving then, so I'd probably be about, passed my test, I think I was 17. I was driving at 18, you know, and then I was actually, so I was actually driving the big 3-ton wagons at 18, 19. So a bit of, I don't know how they let me loose on a 3-ton wagon at 18, 19, but I did. Anyway, I used to rack up at your place when he was there, and obviously I could be a bit more myself because I was then driving the van, and I was the boss of the van, so to speak. And I'd bump into you and your dad and your granddad, and it was just fond memories of coming in. And very crisp mornings in Breakbit, freezing cold mornings in Bolton, and a hot custard at 6 o'clock in the morning was just heaven. And your granddad was lovely.
Not that we ate food like that, obviously, because training hard, you didn't. That was forbidden food. Forbidden food, yeah.
And anyway, the custards were just off the scale good. Anyway, your dad, Brian Power, introduced me to this quiet little boy at the time, a teenager. I don't know how old you'd be, Brian, 13, 14?
I bet 14, yeah.
Yeah. And he introduced me to him, and he said, "Oh, this is Brian, and you've stood behind the shop, and you're like this in a white overall on, and you was obviously learning the trade as well a little bit, school holidays or whatever." And I'd said, "Oh, well, what do you do?" And he went, "Oh, I do basketball." And I noticed you were quite tall.
Just going to say that, basketball, yeah.
Because you're very tall. You're 6 foot what, Brian?
6'2.5".
6'2.5". So you can imagine that, you know, basketball would be a skill for some tall youth at that time. And your dad said something like, "Oh, this is Sandy, he does Thai boxing," and you were like, "Oh, what's that?" Blah blah blah. And we got talking, and lo and behold, I don't know how soon after that, but you came Thai boxing.
I did. I always remember, because I remember when we first met. If people don't know, Sandy had a perm. I'm going to mention it. He had a perm. It was the 80s. It was a perm.
I had a perm. No, I actually did. It's true.
He did have a perm.
I've had some funny.
And I remember. I used to rub the top of his head, because obviously there's a little bit size difference between us. And then
I kicked you in the head, I think.
Yeah, I think when we went training, he said, "Come down, I'll give you first lesson free." And I went down, true to his word. First lesson free.
Second one double.
Second one, yeah, probably double.
No.
And then, but then I got hooked, and then I was like, I can't believe it. I was rubbing his head. He's going to kick me face in. And I think he invariably did about 2 or 3 times after that. But I think that's when I got hooked, because we ended up training 2 or 3 times a day, going running in the gym. And that's when we were at Vernon Street as well.
Yeah, Vernon Street.
Vernon Street,
started,
big mill. And it was a proper gym, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was an absolute... and we had some
school,
good fighters out of there. Yeah, yes. It was hard school. Phil Nurse. Phil
Nurse, who's in New York. He's one of the best Muay Thai teachers in the world.
Crew Nurse,
and he's out there. Bobby Beckles,
Humphrey Harrison.
Yeah.
Cal Thompson, Adrian Thompson,
Thompson, world boxing champion, beat Chris Eubank twice,
and some of the other guys that used to train, Brian Griffiths, I've not seen him for years, but it was one of those, it was a club, and it was a family, and it took over your life, and it's a bit like yourself, I think Thai boxing takes over your life, so that's, it got me hooked, and then, and we had my first fight. I remember my first fight upstairs in Maxine's
against karate.
Against Alf. I fought a guy called Alf Newms. I remember second round, I'd kneed him in the head, and I'm jumping around going, "Yeah, I've won," and you're going, "No knees." The guy couldn't see after that. Yeah. So the third round, it was done, and I was like, and that was my first foray into fighting. And you turned around and went, "How did you fight like that? Because you don't train like that." Because training was like, I don't like being punched, I don't like being kicked. But as soon as you got into a ring, switched on.
That's pretty much a lot like me, because I used to get battered in sparring.
When
I fought, I did well. It was a bit weird. It was reverse things, but
yeah.
Anyway, we've got so much to talk about today. Let's just talk a little bit about your family for a second and jump from that, because obviously blessings to you. I've lost my parents.
Yeah.
You've lost your parents. Mum and dad have gone now, and fond memories of them. Great people. We're from good ilk. I think, Ryan, aren't we?
I think we had good guidance from all our parents, because I met your mum and dad. You knew my mum and dad. Yeah, and I think the good grounding for what for the people that we become today, I think. So
yeah, and there's a lot to be said about that, isn't there?
Yeah.
And it's without going into that whole world for the moment, but 1960, I believe, HK Beggs was established.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Your mum being Annette, she married your dad Brian Power.
Yeah.
And then
we've got that one down now.
Yeah. Who came first in the of children? You've got brothers or sisters?
No, there's just me. I came
yourself.
First, and then Gary came second.
Gary,
there's just 2 of us.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So what's Gary doing these days?
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
He's retired.
How does that work? Anyway, okay. We'll leave that one.
Moving swiftly.
So, 37 years we've known each other.
Yeah.
You became, obviously, my fond memories again of you, Brian, and I can actually still quote you to this day in my gym every so often.
Oh, no.
One thing that I was good at, even though I only got little legs and I'm only like, I'm nearly a foot shorter than you, but we used to like our running, didn't we?
Oh, God, yeah.
We used to like running a lot, and one thing that you was very good at was running, obviously with your long legs, and I was very determined.
You were a very good runner as well, trust me.
We used to so not compete, but we used to bounce off each other.
We used to compete.
And
we did, didn't we?
And every year we did
the Horwich Run.
It was a 10-mile charity run, wasn't it? It wasn't 10 miles. I think it was about 8.9 or something.
But we rounded it up to 10.
We rounded it to 10 to make it, because it was for sponsorship. Yeah. We did it for charity. We do a lot of charity, don't we? And me and you used to pretty much kill it every year, didn't we?
We used to blast it all up the front.
In fact, I remember, we talk about Phil Nurse. I remember him running it in a mask and he run it in I don't know what mask, something like a monkey suit or a monkey mask on or something. And he set off, because Phil was always late. He was later than me. And Phil set off about 5 minutes after everybody else and managed to catch most people up, didn't he?
Yeah.
He didn't actually win it, but he weren't far behind. But yeah, we had fond memories. I think Big Andy Nuttall, our friend, sat in the back of an open backed. You couldn't do this now, could you? There was a car, lifted the boot lid up, and he sat in the boot filming us.
Filming it.
Old VHS, these old
proper old camera as we were all running up the road. God, I remember him doing that. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah,
and then put it back. And what we used to do is, anybody used to run off for a wee, or anybody stopped, they got press-ups.
They got press-ups.
And Andy used to try and encourage people to swear, didn't he?
Yeah, because everybody got press-ups.
How are you feeling? Because people would go, I'm knackered. And he'd go, sorry? but he's filming them. And he didn't realise it was funny. So when we got it back, we played it back, and every time somebody did, they got every time we rewound the video as well, they got another 20, 50 press-ups.
Yeah.
Was there.
But I think that's part of the sport, and that's what attracted me to the sport, because it was the discipline and it was the tradition. It was the tradition of what we did with the Ramor ties. And spookily enough, it was at some fights at weekend. Yeah. And I think we mentioned this when we were in the kitchen.
Sorry, just to interject for a second. Charlotte, your daughter. How old is she now, Charlotte?
20. Oh, I can't say. 25 now. She's 25.
Well, I met Charlotte at your house once, and I'm not sure. I think you handed her to me. No, I ate kids and dogs. I've got a dog now. I ate kids. I ate dogs. I don't hate them, but I've never wanted them. I don't like them. They're great. I'm done back. It's great. Even though I teach kids.
Yeah.
And you were doing something in the kitchen. The phone rang and the kettle was boiling. And you were doing something, and you handed me your daughter. And everyone who knows me knows I don't do
like kids.
So I didn't do that.
Drop.
I didn't drop it. I'd drop it. I don't know. The thing is, I'd struggle to pick her up now, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
She's like you. She's like 6 foot.
She's 5'10", 5'11". Yeah.
And I remember
she fights at 72 kilos, so she's a big girl.
Yeah. And I remember walking into my gym, and she was about 12, 13, and just this very confident, like young teenage girl, 12, 13, 14, walks confidently through the door, bows, and I looked at her and I thought, right. I said, have you done Thai boxing before? She went, yeah, no, really. I said, all right, okay. She said, I want to train, please. I went, yeah, dead polite, but then an air of like just shoulders back, confident. And I thought, you just pick up on something. She signs her name in, she goes and gets changed, comes out on the mat. And anyway, I'm doing something, I'm just signing off the book, and I looked, and it said Charlotte Power. Now, I looked at that, it didn't click, but I thought, what a great last name. I love that name. I mean, how can you not like Power as a last name? It's the ultimate, especially if you're in fitness. And that I always remember is Brian Power, Brian Power. It's just. I mean, we'll touch on this in a minute about the power aerobics you did as well, which is a fabulous name. And anyway, went on the mat and just thought, this girl's picking it up well, and she seems to know what she's doing. But she's just like, I'm asking her, and everything was like, there was no confidence issue whatsoever, no arrogance, just confidence. And don't mistake those two. Yeah. And she came back the following week, and it's been for about 3 weeks, and I was like, there's something going on here, and I thought the penny weren't dropping. And then I suddenly thought, Sandy, you thicko. And I went, excuse me, I said, are you related to, I said, a guy used to come down here, very fit Thai boxer, one of my former Thai boxing champions, an instructor, he was light heavyweight, and I'm really spieling off all this thing about this guy called Brian Power. She went, it's my dad.
Sounds like Charlotte, that. Hand.
Why didn't you tell me? Well, I didn't want to, I just wanted to come and train, I didn't want to make anything different. And I went, God bless her, you know what I mean? What a great story. And she, obviously, like I said, she trained for a bit. She now trains over with a great gym at Majestic
Gym with Kevin, yeah.
Yeah, she's had how many fights now?
I think 4 fights now, and she's won 3, drawn 1. So
brilliant. Good for her. She's going to go places. We talked about Thai boxing, Brian. There,
yeah.
About because like I said, you was one of my fighters, one of my champions. You're one of the fittest guys in the gym. You won the light heavyweight.
Yeah, British light heavyweight title. Yeah.
And tradition is very important in Muay Thai. We do this. We bow. You did it today. This is true. This walking up the street today, just as I'm parking my car, he's walking past, and suited and booted in the middle of town, and he does this.
You bow to each
People's
other.
driving past, walking, bow. And I thought, what a nice thing.
It's just respect, I think, because it's something.
And it's not bowing. It's not. I want to correct people. No. It's not subservient. It's not master.
It's a greeting. It's a meeting.
It's like this, isn't it?
It's like a handshake.
I mean, what we haven't introduced, guys. I just want to tell you we're going to talk about lots of things. We've got Gabbys sat across here. I know you can't see him on camera, but just pop your.
Be quiet. Come on, Gabby. Come round.
Come round here.
There you go.
We're going to bring in Garvey in the second half, guys. Garvey is now, like yourself, Brian. He's involved a lot in Thai boxing. He's done a similar thing. He started when he was like 6 or 7 years of age. Trained for a long time until he was a teenager. Then he actually met his now wife. He's got 3 kids with him in the gym, which is a success story.
Cool.
And he's come back, and his last fight was as a child, and he's actually going to be fighting now as an adult on this Fighting for Autism show, which is going to be.
So is this your first fight back?
First fight back, yeah.
So, Gavi, just a quick one, just welcome, and we're going to be bringing you in later.
Yep.
You're obviously listening to this full conversation and stuff, and you can see the sort of parallels here with Brian and things relating to yourself.
A lot of similarities,
20 years of Thai boxing for you. So, anyway, Brian, just touching on that thing you were saying about tradition.
Yeah, because I noticed that when I was at the fights, because I got probably as the 3rd or 4th fight was on, and I was like, why they're not doing a ram or tie? Because it's the tradition of the ritual dance, and if some people might know, and I think a lot of people will know, ritual dance. And I saw a couple seal the ring, but I used to love the archer. You know, and when we did with the ram or tie, because it was what you had to do for your gradings, because each grading you moved up, you had to learn a different ram or tie.
Dance, which is like a kata.
It was like a kata. So for me, and that was one of the things that set the tone for the fight. When I used to fight, that got me in the zone, and I think that's what it does as well. So I was like, why is it gone, and where's it gone? Because some of the fighters never did it, and I just thought they've lost a bit of tradition.
Yeah, it's sad to see, Brian. I think because we're a little bit old school, but there is still that going on. I mean, we're having these fights a week on Saturday, the 26th of May at the Monaco Ballroom, Hindley, and you'll probably see that most of them will be doing the ritual dance. So I think what's happened now is, back when you was fighting, I was fighting, you probably only have, I'm saying, no, you didn't. There was shows, there was 20 fights,
10,
but
15,
still would do them. Yeah, but I think now what people are doing on time restraint, people attending them, because people, everything's fast and furious these days, and people want it now. So they're eliminating the ritual dance to try and save time, so they can get other things on and get life done. And I think that really is, and the only way I can sum it up, because I've had to accept it. I've done this for 40 years, so you can imagine me. I'm thinking, like, why is it all that? I've had to deal with that emotionally and mentally, and saying, why are they not doing this? Why are they not doing that? And for as much as you can't change the world, but you have to sort of roll with it, I put it down to time restraint, and I use that now, and it stops me from going daft and insane.
Go mental about it, because for me, it was one of the big things I picked up on. I just think it should still be part of what we do. It's the tradition.
That's nice to hear.
It's tradition.
It's tradition, Brian. And you should be proud, mate, because you've been involved, like I said, 37 years. You're a man of. I mean, you were telling me just before we came in here. You still to this day get up at what time of the training?
5:30 in the morning. Good lad. If my wife's watching this, she'll be going mental because I get her up, and before I go to the gym, I'm at the gym at 6 o'clock. So,
well, you've kept this Thai boxing work ethic, and this is something everybody. We talked about Darren Phillips. The list is endless of Thai boxers that have come out of Bolton, haven't they? Which you've
there's loads of people.
Being the head honcho who taught me, and then I just passed that on to you guys. But you guys have all kept, and the people that have come out of BTBC, and this is not a pat on the shoulder for me. It's because I just passed on what Master Sken taught me. And I just think it's that Thai boxing ethic that seems to have got people in a lot of good places.
Yeah, it does. It helps people through, and I think it took a lot of people, and especially when we were training, we had guys there that were a bit on the edge, and you could say, and it brought them back onto from the dark side onto the right side.
Perfect.
Sorry for the Star Wars analogy there.
Got Josh, our techie cameraman there, smiling away.
But it was true.
It's true.
It got people back into the straight and narrow, and it teaches you respect. And when I still meet the guys that I know, like Steve Riley and people like that, and Darren Phillips, you can tell, Darren still bows, and you can still, they're all still in good shape, and they still look after themselves. And I'm in my 50s now, and you're in your late 40s now.
Thank you. And we're all in good shape.
So we look after ourselves. So I think, but it's inbred now. It's part of what we do. It's part of everyday life.
Way of life.
Yeah. Charlotte says to me, "You've not mentioned going to the gym today, Dad." And I went, "Well, I go." She went, "That's just because it's part of what you do."
Like brushing your teeth, isn't it?
Of course it is.
It's a habit almost.
It's like getting up, going to work, and doing what we need to do. But for me, it's part of everyday life now.
Brilliant. So anyway, Brian, thank you. That's great. I mean, we've only got like 5 minutes left. We're just going to discuss, obviously
BCC.
Bolton Carson Centre. What's that was, like I said. It's not like a massive plug about my brother's garage. Our Mike is my eldest brother. I've got 3 brothers.
Yeah.
Mike, got Jeff. So 2 older brothers and a younger brother, Phil. Phil has worked for Bolton Carson Centre for donkey's years.
Yeah.
Our Phil's he's a character himself. Our Jeff is into motorbikes, and our Mike is the car man. I mean, obviously, cars feature a lot in our lives, and Bolton Carson Centre, which they've got, it's 3 garages in Bolton.
Yeah, we've got 3 in Bolton, Citroen, and we've got a Suzuki and a Hyundai.
Right, and you're based mainly at the Hyundai, yeah?
Yeah, I look after the Hyundai and Suzuki franchises for your brother Mike. So, but I used to work for a big PLC, and I've been in cars for 20 odd years. Right. But when I met Mike about 3 years ago, very much like you, I must say, very similar personalities, but I got on with him like a house on fire. So he offered me a job, and I came working with him, and I like the way that it's a family-run business. Mike's, like I said, 37 years. We've probably got customers who've bought cars off us, 15 cars off us in that time. Wow. And and then they recommend the family and everything else. So for me, we have that like family ethos where customers can come in. It's a bit more relaxed, and it's not that hard pressure sell, and that's what I enjoy about it. So, like I said, I've worked for some big PLCs in the past, and it's nothing like that. And it's run as like it's a private entity and a family business. Right. So it shows, I think, the people that work with Mike and myself, and that's how it comes across.
Right. I'm just jumping back to the first thing about talking about our parents. Mum and Dad done a good job. One thing with the Holt family, and I've got to say it. I look up to our Mike, because our Mike there's a big age gap. Mike was the eldest, and there's like about a 10-year age gap. Then my mum had 3 of us, like a 2 years, 3 years gap. So our Mike was doing stuff. He was playing in a band when I was just playing with toys. Do you know what I mean? And he used to have a band called The Tracks. I remember that. But anyway. Our Mike, I'll never forget this. He had, back in the day, like if you think of like the most fanciest, like a Ferrari now, an E-Type Jag was the thing back then. And I remember once something happened, the buses were on strike, and our Mike, because I had to get 2 buses to school, I was just, instead of Smithfield School, I could throw a stone at it.
Oh God, it's
they sent me to Dean. I don't know what happened there. Hey, what did Dean? Naughty boy. Whatever, I don't know. But 2 buses a day to school, 2 buses back. Anyway, something happened, and our Mike had to take me to school. And so I went in the E-Type Jag. And went across Beaumont Road, and I'll never forget this. Before the speed restrictions, he went over 100 miles an hour, and I'd never been in a car at that speed at like the age of like 12, 13.
He didn't really say that. He didn't do that. He never did that.
But there's no speed limit on there, because it used to be do you know that used to be called the man's racing track? They used to race cars on Beaumont Road. Yeah, thanks. Josh is not here. He knows that. Yeah, and it was cobbled.
Never.
Seriously, it was cobbled.
Bone shaker.
Yeah. So anyway, and he took me to school to get to Dean Base, which was over that way. And he said, "Do you want to go fast?" I went, "Yeah." I was a kid, you know what I mean? I said, "Yeah, 100 and something it was." And it's E-Type Jag. But anyway, so that's the thing with Mike and cars. And the thing is, for me, I'm just Bolton born and bred, strong in the arm, and thick in the head. Our Mike had the brains. He had like about 8 or 9 O levels, about 6 A levels. He had the brains for the rest of us brothers. You know what I mean? Very clever. So I've always looked up to him, and I've made what he's done, and I like cars, and I've got an Hyundai, as well as the smart stretch limo. And he's always
good to park in the middle of nowhere. There you go.
I abandoned everything. And basically, I've bought cars off him. I'm going to do, and he's obviously done me a deal. He better have to. But yeah, everybody I talk to who's bought cars off, and they say what you said, and I think that's a real nice testament.
Because it's a Bolton-based firm, and around the northwest, it's one of those names that's synonymous. If you jump on the website, Mike's face is on the website, and he says, "Give him a bell. If you've got any questions, phone him up." And I'll tell you what, he'll take a call at any time of day off anybody, or an email, and answer it back. And I think that's the difference. It's a personal touch. Right. So for me, it speaks volumes.
Yeah. Well, I remember our Mike actually saying to me about just over 3 years ago, and he said, Brian Power, of course, again, name Power. What a name! It's fantastic. And he went, yeah. He goes, I'm thinking about bringing him on as a sales manager.
At the time, yeah.
And you know what?
I'm franchise manager. I've got 4. I'll look after 4 sites for him.
Wow. So he said, I think you know him, don't you? He does Thai boxing. I went, do I know him?
Do I know Brian Power?
So he said, would you mind just giving us a quick character?
No, don't tell him.
And I said, do you know what? I said, he's got so much enthusiasm. I said, he's passionate. I said, you couldn't pick a better guy, Mike, and I can tell you that now because I feel I don't see why can't I say it? Why
3 years down the line now.
Why I want to say it? And it was true, and I'm really impressed that you. And it said how we've done this. And,
it's bizarre, because we started off like 37 years ago, and we've gone like that, and come like that, and gone like that, and come like that. And like you said about my daughter training, she turned up. It's just weird as how we've crossed all the way. It's like sliding doors. It's like sliding doors. Yeah, it's been great.
Brilliant. Right, so I'm just going to finish off with basically, like I said, Bolton Carson. You've been very kind to explain what they're doing.
Yeah.
But what is the current thing? What is anything on offer?
Yeah, we've got
young drivers. Is there what's going on with BCC?
We offer new and used cars, Motability cars for customers, but we have got a 10-day sale starting on Friday, and we've got some great prizes. We've got 55-inch flat screen TV for a smart TV for those people that are interested in football for the World Cup.
Did you say the F word then?
Sorry, I nearly swore.
Foosball.
Fuzzball, yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
So we've got some 10-day sale, and we've got some prizes that we're giving away if customers come in and buy cars. And really, I don't want to plug any more, but that's what's happening at this moment in time.
And where would they get hold of you? Where's the 3 addresses? Where are
they? We've got Hypatia Street, which is just off Bury Road. And then obviously we've got Bury Road itself, which is Hyundai. Yeah. And then we've got the Bolton Citroen that's right in the centre of Highbridge Street, thank you. Just couldn't remember. So those are the 3 sites there.
And telephone number?
01204 535 000. Ask for Brian.
That's for Brian. 01204 535
000. Yeah.
Is there a website?
Yeah, bcccars.com.
I think there's a slogan and it goes right in my head, and it's bcccars.com.
Because
Northwest
number one. Because customers counts. There you go.
Boom. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me shake this man's
Brilliant.
hand. Brian, you're
Pleasure.
an absolute legend,
Pleasure.
sir.
It's great catching up. Yeah.
We share so much together.
Oh, God, yeah.
I hope to get you back in again on another
Please.
Sandy Bash blog,
Yeah,
please.
brilliant. Cheers. Thank you.
So, there endeth the 4th Sandy's Bash blog here. Thank you for watching us, everybody. We'll see you all later in part 2 with Gaby Brennard. See you later. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, celebrities, people from around the world, and of course, sunny Bolton by the sea. We're here in part 2 of Sandy's Bash blog of series number 4. And in studio, we have the man sat to my right, the one and only Mr. Gaby Brennard. Good morning, or even good afternoon, Gaby. How are you today?
Good morning. It's always morning.
It's always morning.
I'm all right. I'm good, yeah. Fresh off a session at the gym.
As well, we talked about previously, Brian. You're here for, well, mostly we're talking about this, which is the Fighting for Autism, which is on my T-shirt as well, as you can probably see it, 26th of May. And this young man will be fighting on this show. And we'll touch about what Fighting for Autism is in a moment. But let's just talk about you, Gaby, as, well, first of all, born in 1996, age 28, which is ironically the same age as me. Brian's laughing down the background.
I've actually caught you up.
I don't know how he's done this, because he started at the age of 6 when I only started at the age of like about 15. But he has caught me up, and I'm very impressed. Anyway, Gaby, started at the age of 6. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, go on.
6-year-old, I saw a video, I think it was Horwich. You had fights on in Horwich. And I saw a video of 2 guys smashing lumps out of each other. They were claret everywhere. Like,
That's not a good start.
Dad, I want to do that. And that was it. A week later, I was there.
Wow. I mean, obviously, let's just reiterate for the crowd and the people what listen. It's not about smashing people's faces. It's Thai boxing.
No.
Let's just clarify. Obviously, in the ring, Wendy competing, which is only, I think, Thai boxing, as you know, there's so many different aspects and parcels to it. Is that, you know, Thai boxing is about self-defense, keep fit. It's about not being hit, really, and it's about, you know, the subjects that Brian mentioned before. You know, it's a way of life, because it's about stability in your life. It's about self-confidence, self-respect, self-control, and, you know, everything to do with self. It's about ourself. You know, there's only one of us, and, you know, a 6-year-old, impressionable. You know, you saw competition and you thought, you know, I wouldn't mind having a go at that. And obviously getting punched in the face, because kids don't at that age. There's no head contact till they sort of reach a teenager. But anyway, so 6 years of age, you came and joined us. That's incredible. And you trained until, I think, well, obviously your mid-teens, I think, was it?
I was about 17.
Yeah.
17 last session, really.
Right, so you're looking at like 10, 11 years in Thai boxing that you did with us, and you graded all the way up until, in Muay Thai we have a grading system. Some people don't have it, we do, and it's pretty much like belts in martial arts. And we have armbands, so we put them around the top of the bicep and the tricep, and they represent like white is beginner, and we have 10 grades up to red, and you reached the last brown, didn't you?
I did, yeah, brown, white, yellow, green.
And obviously, when you left, there's a big gap between you leaving, for you to come back literally sort of almost 10 years later. But one of your ambitions, you told me, you said, Sandy, I want to do my red armband, didn't you? Which is your instructor's grade.
I had to cross the I's, dot the T's, so to speak. I started when I was a kid, and it was something I always wanted to complete. I wanted to achieve the final grading that I could actually take. So to never actually get there would have bugged me, so it was one of the reasons why I had to come back, because I had to finish it.
Right, to finish the story, which is it's very interesting. With obviously, you know, having trained for that time, I remember you being a little chubby kid. We've got pictures up in the gym. I can embarrass him.
I've always been skinny, don't I?
He went through that transitional period as kids do. They sort of go that way first before they go that way. And there's 2 pictures in the gym, and as being a child, one of you like this, and one of you
I was
like
heavier
this.
then than I am now.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
I
really.
think on that picture you was about 12, wasn't you? And you was like heavier than you are now as an adult.
I think I was like 12, 13, and I was about 13 stone and all.
Oh, wow.
and now I'm less than 12 stone, so I was heavier then than I am now.
It's crazy, isn't it? That is absolutely crazy. But I mean, you've always been into fitness, Gabby. You know, and I remember. I mean, you know, parents, the M&Ms as we call them. Your dad, Martin. I remember him coming into my gym. You know, bringing you in.
Yeah.
Your dad. I never forget your dad because dad Jamaican born, fantastic dreads. I always got a lovely smile on his face, warm eyes. Your dad, I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Your mum, you know, only ever met her a few times because your dad sort of brought you down mostly, didn't he? I only had a few contacts with your mum. Mum always nice, always polite, always lovely. You know, we talked about this with Brian before. You know, we're all blessed with good parents.
Yeah.
Your parents are still here, obviously.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm sure that they must be very proud of you, Garvey.
I hope so.
No, they are. I know they are. And you know, your dad, throughout the years when he brought you, obviously, you know, he had to bring you. You couldn't, you know, drive it. Couldn't go to BCC and buy a car off Brian at the age of 60. So
I'd have tried.
Yeah,
I'd have tried.
I'd have told you no.
Gives me a minute.
Yeah. Anyway, you've brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I've got an older brother, Lewis, who is autistic. That's another one of the reasons why I wanted to fight on this show. And the middle one, our Alicia, she's my sister. She's 4 years older than me. I see our Lewis few and far between, to be honest, mainly Christmas and his birthday, because he remembers where you are on his birthday.
Siblings.
Most brothers and sisters do.
But
where's me present?
Yeah, but my sister, I can literally throw a stone at her back door. I've got 3 nieces, obviously through my sister, and I bring one of them down to the gym.
Ebony.
Ebony, she's
a troubled child, but I say that. Do you know what? Ebony, in the last... How long has she been training with us now?
2.5 years.
About 2.5 years. And do you know what? I mean, was she 14?
13.
13. And she's like any 13-year-old girl at school, got the straps on, but also, you know, there's bad groups in the school, as we all had.
Yeah.
And you get pulled and swayed backwards and forwards from good and bad groups, don't we? And it's finding your way in life, isn't it? And unfortunately, some people go down the, as I call it, the slippery slide route, which is a very hard one to get back up on. And she, well, I think, you know, with the help of yourself, Garvey, obviously, a great influence on her, and your family, of course, and your parents and everybody else, and obviously with the gym, we've all managed to pull her back onto the track, haven't we?
Yeah,
she's doing great.
She was getting herself into trouble far too much, as far as I'm concerned. But since obviously being at the gym, she's there now 3 to 4 times a week.
3-4 times a week, and she's always there. It's brilliant.
She comes even without me, so she wants to do it herself. She's actually wanting to come down and train, and it's what she does mainly. It's a main pastime. She spends most of her time training. If she's not training, she's got facing a phone.
That's what most kids do. I mean, I do. I'm a kid. I'm still a kid. My face is in the phone most of the time. But yeah, so we share that one. She could be in a worse place, couldn't she?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, keeping them in the gym, and that's great. You know, a friend who she trains with, Ella. I mean, she's far more been in trouble than Alicia has. And Alicia, sorry, that's the mum. We keep calling her Alicia. Ebony, sorry, that's the mum. We keep calling her because she looks so much like your sister, didn't she?
Absolute.
But how long? For a year, I called her Alicia, didn't I? It slipped out there, didn't it?
Yeah.
Ebony, right, looks like a mum, and she said, "I don't look like my mum." I said, "Your mum's lovely." "Oh, right, I do look like my mum then." But yeah, and she's got a friend, and she's had the same thing. She's involved with some bad kids at school. I've been talking to her mum loads. Ella's mum, and between us all, you've got her eye on, I've got my eye on her. She's 13-year-old going on 23, and it's not right, and I don't like it. And you know, you should be, you know, we're only a kid for a short time in our life, and you know, when you're a kid, you shouldn't have any trouble, should you?
No.
And there's so many troubled teenagers these days. You know, you're a parent, Brian. You know, I'm not, but I've been teaching kids, as you know, for 30 years or how long, I don't know. And I've been like a surrogate father for 10,000 kids. And you know, but you know, as a parent, you've got a job to do and you've got a responsibility. And it must be sad and horrible when you see them going off. I mean, teenage years are the most troubled years, aren't they? And to get people into, so many teenagers don't go into martial arts because they've got that much going on. But it would, you know, what's your thoughts on that, Brian?
I think it's a good grounding and discipline for anybody. My youngest son now, Sebastian, he's 12, and I keep saying, well, I need to take him down. Just because what you alluded to, he spends all the time on his phone, his Xbox. And I just think it's exercise, and it gives somebody that discipline to get out, go out and do that. And guess what? Gives you self-defence.
Yeah.
It helps you to handle yourself. Because I've probably only ever had 2 altercations on the street in my whole life. Katie was the one going, he's doing, go on, sort him out. I'm like, no, I'm going to talk and walk away. Because that's what you should be doing.
Yes.
You resolve it and walk away.
Yeah.
Life's too short, and we said this earlier on, isn't it? Life's too short, and you should be able to resolve a situation and move on. So it's only there when you actually need it, if it was last form of self-defence. But for me, putting Charlotte, we alluded to, getting her in, it was great grounding. She was having troubles at college and stuff like that, and it was just stuff that made her realise that, and it was a passion she had. And, and I think mentally it puts you in the right place, doesn't
100%.
it? It puts you in the right place. The endorphin release, you feel good.
The best
set
in the world.
For the day.
Yeah, people said to me, Sandy, I've had people say, "Are you on drugs?" And I went,
Life.
Life.
It's life. It is.
And I have this argument constantly with people about drinking alcohol, and I understand why people do it. I get it. It's not me. I'm fighting the world, but I just say you don't need alcohol to have a good time. And I just say, there is such a thing. I'm drinking hot water. You were asking me about that before. My mum used to drink this, and she lived to 95. My dad, 96. Sorry, my dad till 94. And they ate healthy. They didn't. My mum never drank. Not to say you're going to live long if you don't drink. I never said that. I know. My fiance Haley is a nurse, and she's been treating people a woman the other week at 100 and something, and she loves talking to the older generation. And she said to this old lady, she said, what, as you would ask, what's your secret? How have you lived to 100? And she just says, I have a tot of whiskey every night. And another one said, she just says, I have a glass of wine every night. And there's another one who's never drank a day in her life. So there's no set rule. No. You could be like me. You could not drink, not smoke, not do drugs, and die at 25, couldn't you?
It could have a genetic disposition, and something could happen.
But obviously, on the whole, it's moderation. One glass of wine. She doesn't have a bottle.
No, she has
That's
a
what
glass.
people mistake. They go, well, she drinks wine every day, so they neck a bottle and wonder why they're not right in the head and anywhere else. Or they'll go start sniffing drugs and stuff. And I just think
it's everything in moderation,
moderation,
isn't it? It's about having a balanced life and about keeping things in the right place.
Yes,
that's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Anyway, I've jumped subjects.
Sorry.
No, don't apologise. It's fantastic. You guys are great people to have in here. Right, jumping sort of right. So you meet your now wife, well, you're engaged.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I have a thing in my gym where we have, I've got kids classes, as you know, we talked about this, and I have this thing what's called Tie Dragons, and basically the teenagers, the old in-betweeners,
right,
who, once they're too old for the kids classes, but they're too young for the adult classes, and it's a sad, hard place to be. So I've devised this a number of years ago, probably about 15 years ago now, to call them what's called Tie Dragons. And it's just a label. And they're basically like prefects at school.
Right.
And so what they do, they help all the pads just walk around as I can't say assistant instructors, but they're assistants, they're like trainees. And they just basically help out. But they're extra set of hands, an extra set of eyes, and they help out. And Garvey was one of those. And I had another girl there, quite a few over the years, Emma Bright, there's too many to mention. Jacob Sandland, there's probably 20. But another young lady there at the time we talked about was Jade Hoskins. And he and Jade, was obviously in the same class at the same time teaching the kids and as young teenagers, done like 13, 14. And there was a lot of giggles going on between them and stuff. And I could see, when they say that, they all start punching each other, don't they, and stuff.
The play fighting starts.
Play fighting starts.
I'm going to punch you because I can't kiss you.
Yeah. So, perfect. So,
typical young boy.
There you go. Yeah. But anyway, this bomb started to grow, and I got a bit worried because being like the tetchy father that doesn't have kids, I was constantly separating them and saying, this is not good. They're like 14, 15. This shouldn't be happening. Stop it.
Yeah,
you
know
can't
what
have
that feels
sex till
like
you're 16. You can't smoke till you're 16. You can't drink till you're 18. And I was like, I am rigid. You know what I mean? And it's like, beyond that, it's like, in my gym was the same, was when you're 21, you can have your first snog. When you're 25, you can have your first beer. You're like when you guys used to go out and catch you with a beer in town. They made them do press-ups in nightclubs and bars in Bolton. This is a true story.
It was, yeah. It was.
We'll go away from that.
It was easier. I stopped drinking for about 4 years. Yeah. It was easier just not to drink.
I used to kill them. Anyway, this is all because I don't drink, and I'm sorry. I apologise. And anyway, so I feels this thing was growing. Anyway, let's cut to the chase. They ended up basically, you know, for want of a better expression, getting it on. And say it as it is.
Bit of Barry White.
And just after that, they left. And they left because of the pressure, obviously, because what happened was Jade, you became a relationship, the two of you, an item. Jade got pregnant at the age of?
18.
She was 18. I thought she was 16.
No, she was 17 on conception, 18 when she had
she was 17. That's what I'm saying. She was 17, and for me, it was like, I know that's, you know, you're old enough. 16 is really, but because I was being like an overprotective parent, which had nothing to do with me. So
Surrogate father.
Surrogate father. It didn't go down too well with Garvey and with Jade, and I understand that because I pressed my feelings upon it because I felt partly responsible because they're in my gym. They got together in my gym, and I'm thinking they shouldn't have done this. But then, hey, let's move on. They've got 3 children.
Yes.
They live together. They've got 3 beautiful kids. Jade's an absolute fabulous mother, fabulous person, as this is a fabulous man and father, parent. And, you know, when I say, and I said this on your stadium, I said, I got it wrong. We make mistakes in life. And only a few years ago when me and Gabbys sort of crossed paths a bit, when Gabbys sort of came back a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah.
You've come, because you're going through different issues in your life, and you sort of came in for a bit, did a bit of Thai boxing, disappeared again. And at that point, I sort of half apologised then, didn't I? And I said, Gabbys, I made a mistake. And I shook it. He took me apology, shook my hand, and we give a hug, and he said, just got issues going at the moment, Sandy, and, you know, I'm working at this, doing that, but I'll be back. You know what I mean? Anyway, lo and behold, 2 years ago, he came back, not just come back, but you've now become a big feature. You passed your red armband.
I have.
Well done. Well done.
Came back with a bang.
Came back with a bang. And then started helping me teach because I was struggling at the time. I lost 2 instructors.
Right.
And Garvey expressed to help me as a fully qualified volunteer teacher. And he's I could say it, Garvey, and I'll say it to your face. Absolutely, you've more than surpassed what I've asked. You know, an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
And you've been a breath of fresh air. And you've added so much to my gym, and you know that I think that shines with how you teach people and how you come across, and you know, just thank you for what you've done. You know, just in those years that you weren't there, Gabby, what actually happened in your life? Do you want to tell people?
Yeah, I can do. I was at college for part of it. Obviously, with having kids, I felt the need to go out and earn a crust, so I was working all over the place. I developed anxiety and depression throughout that period. I genuinely think that's through a lack of training because I always had it from a young age. Not having it, not made me feel worthless, but it lessened my confidence within myself and my abilities.
I can relate to that.
I think everyone can relate to that.
When
if you do a lot of training, more so.
When I realised, the doctor diagnosed me, tried giving me all sorts of medication, and I don't like tablets, don't like them whatsoever. I'd rather drink a glass of water than take paracetamol.
Fantastic.
But I decided that it was time to get back into training, so I did some boxing at a few different gyms, just to try and shake it off type of thing, because I didn't want to come back to your place, Bolton Thai Boxing Club, with the way I was at that time. Because I wasn't confident. I was a shadow of me when I was a teenager. I had less confidence when you should have more the older you get. So I went to a few different boxing gyms, realised that I still pack a punch. I can still play. So I was like, right, well, get back in the gym. I was doing weights. I put a stupid amount of weight on, doing weights and stuff like that. And then eventually it was like, right, it's time to do something in terms of training. So I started doing a class for fitness because I qualified as a gym instructor, fitness coach at college. So I thought, right, well, I'll do a fitness class. It was like an aerobic style class in my local leisure centre, and then I wanted to come back and teach Thai. I wanted to go back to my roots, as I said, and teach something that I was actually passionate about, something I enjoyed fully, and that's when I came back to your place.
Right. So your 3 children's names are?
Kaman is the eldest, he's 9.
Yeah.
Sienna's the middle one, she's a lot of trouble. She's 6. She's the one that's going to cause us the most trouble. She's going to be the one coming home with the police on the collar. And Aria, she's the youngest, she's 2 now.
So, I mean, obviously, I know, you know, Kimani now is just had his second interclub, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And funnily, only a few months ago, we got asked to go to an interclub in Oldham. Kevin Lloyd's from Siam, a former opponent of mine. I fought him twice, Kevin. And he's been in the sport as long as I have. He's been doing it 40 years too. And he he said, can you give us some fighters? Because I've come to your show, can you support us? Yeah. So we did this pretty much like 2 days before. It was a Thursday night or something in the kids' class or something, and we said, can we come down? Can we go down on Saturday and do this interclub? So Garvey looked round at his own son and his niece and went, you two can do it.
You'll do. Let's go.
I think sometimes we need that, don't we?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I got asked. I was actually at a show once, Master Scare, and I was helping him. Because as you know, Brian, like yourself, and then again, I train him asleep.
Well, yeah.
So, but I was at the fights. I weren't training for a fight. I just had that. But I was actually, because Master Sken and Master Woody, obviously their English wasn't brilliant.
Yeah.
They asked me to do the weigh-in and write people's names then, because they couldn't. Their English wasn't great. So I'm jumping on scales. Right, John Smith, 80 kilos. Fred Williams, 82 kilos. Doing all this. Got to this point. I write this guy's names down. Blah blah blah. 60 kilos. And I said, "Is his opponent here, sir?" And they went. And they both started speaking Thai behind me. And I was like, "What's going on?" And then I said, "Sir," I said, "Who's fighting him?" Seamus something he was called. And he went, Master went, "Sandy, have you brought your shorts?" I went, "Yes, sir, I always bring my shorts. We're doing a demonstration tonight, aren't we?" He says, "Yes, we do a demonstration, but you can fight as well." I said, "Okay, sir." So I had to write my own name down. So I matched myself.
How does that work?
I thought, Seamus, forget his last name, versus Sandy Holt. I was like, all right. So I jumped on scales, weighed myself, and wrote my own weight down, which was 60 kilos, which I never changed from, so it wasn't like I was lying.
Yeah.
But anyway, so sometimes it's better just to sort of throw yourself in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And they did amazing, didn't they?
Yeah, they did really well. I was quite proud of them that day.
They've just gone and had the second interclub, haven't they? The very same place.
The same gym.
And done you proud again.
Yeah.
What does it feel like as a father seeing your niece and especially your son Kimani doing that?
It's mixed really, because you want them to go in there and you want them to do well, but then in the same time you don't want them to get hurt. So it's kind of like a mixed emotion. You're fighting with them the whole time they're in there, even though it's not a fight per se. Each blow you're trying to move out of the way for them.
The club is like a friendly fight, but they're still being hit, aren't they? So, I mean, I've got Brian here nodding his head because his daughter Charlotte, who we've been talking about previous, the emotions you must feel, Brian, it must be second to none, because you've been in there and fought. You've been in and fought. I fought. We know what it feels like. It's like
you can't explain that
to
anybody.
anyone. No. It's like saying you're in a parachute jump. How would you explain unless you've done one?
Unless you've done it, you can sympathise, but you can't empathise.
Yeah.
So you need to know. And it's like Charlotte at weekend had that fight. And the third and fourth round, I'm bobbing and weaving and saying, low kick,
you're doing it with them.
You're doing it all. And my wife's looking at me going, you're a nutter. And I'm like, I know, but I just need... The thing is, I was like, knock her out. And I was like, well, sure, so just knock her out. And apparently, of course, said, don't knock her out, just knock her out. I was like, because that for me was... what it was. If you saw an opening, you went for it, didn't you?
Of course,
we're trained to do it that way, aren't we? Yeah.
So anyway, we've only got literally a minute left, Gabby. Let's touch on what we're doing here. We're fighting for autism. This is something, I've been asked very, very... My brother asked me last night, and his wife, Lee. They both said, why have you chosen fighting for autism? And I said, you know what, I've been asked that now by 3 or 4 profound people. Even Paddy McGuinness, the famous Paddy McGuinness, has actually jumped on it and said he would... put the poster because he can't make the show, and he said sorry, which is very nice of him. Thank you, Paddy McGuinness, if you're watching. Apparently I think one of his children has got autism. His 2 children got autism, both right. So he's got twins, and I think they've got autism. So I think that's why he jumped on it, and I didn't realise that. I didn't know that until last night. But anyway, I was asked this question: why pick fighting for autism? I said because basically all the other charities get the massive lion's share, don't they? I've done. You don't have to look in the gym and all the checks up on the wall. We've raised thousands and thousands and thousands. Like everyone else, we're not heroes. Everybody does charity work, but the main ones: Cancer Research, Cancer UK,
Marie Curie,
Bolton Hospice, which I've done that probably 25 times. Charities for that. Other charities as well, RSPCA, because Jussie from the gym, she's bigger thing about animals. We've done that a few times. And obviously the Heart Foundation, all the main ones who get an absolute wallop of money, which is nothing wrong, please. No, I'm not saying don't give them money. No. But let's just spread this thing out. And then because I've got autistic children and autistic adults in my gym, it's a big umbrella of
it's a broad spectrum, isn't it? Yeah, it's a broad spectrum because a lot of people don't understand what autism is.
Absolutely.
And people can have mild versions.
Yes, there's varying degrees of it.
And I think
degrees from 1 to 100.
And it's just, I think it's raising that awareness of what autism is, isn't it? It's being out there and making it socially accepted. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. There's been some research recently. I was listening to something on the radio about how autism has proved that we've done stuff in the past, and without the autistic people, we wouldn't have achieved certain things.
Yes.
Yeah,
Some real brainchilds have done stuff. We wouldn't have this,
and it wouldn't. I can't remember the ins and outs.
You could call it autism or alternative thinking, because it is literally that. You see things differently.
Yeah, you do. I think we all remember the film Rain Man years ago, don't we?
That was
our
first
broke ground.
That was our first ever.
But I think that's that was stereotypical of what autism was, but it's not. A lot of people, you'll know somebody that's autistic, and you won't really know that they're autistic.
Because it's a label we don't want to throw at them. But also, I mean, back in the time, we used to say they're special.
Yeah.
But actually, I'm going to put that on its head, and I'm going to say, no, they are special.
Yeah, they are.
They've got gifts that we haven't.
I'm going to say they've got a different way of looking at certain things, which is, are we wrong? Are they wrong?
Yes.
Absolutely. It's like anything. We accept everybody. You should do. You should do. You accept people as you meet them.
Right. So finishing on that, Garvey, basically, good luck with your fight a week on Saturday. It's your first fight as an adult, because your last fight, you actually left us as
11 years ago,
Yeah, so 11 years on, you're making a comeback as an adult fight. So, good luck with your fight.
We've got,
just to mention that we've actually got... Brilliant. We've actually got 6 fighters on this show. Starting with the youngest one, we've got a 5-year-old.
Oh,
bless. Little Archie Bates, who's had 4 interclubs in literally 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's incredible. 17 kilos, Brian.
17.
Like the weight of your wrist.
I'm going to say I've got a shoe that weighs more than that.
My daughter's a kilo and a half heavier.
Then we've got next up we've got Maddie Mitchell. She's aged 11. Then next up we've got Connor, who's aged 14.
Right.
Then we've got Luke Tiny.
Right.
You know why he's called Tiny?
Because he's huge.
Because he's 6'6". Then we've got Rebecca Slamming.
Right.
We've got a female fighter on. That's going to be good at 50, 55, 56
Is that because she punches hard?
So she's
slamming.
That's a surname.
Great phone. It's like power,
isn't it? Nearly as good as power. Okay, and then we've obviously got Gaby, who's going to be on there. So 6 fighters. Good luck on the
senior fight back.
Yes.
So buy your tickets, please. The tickets are on sale at Bolton Thai Boxing Club. Come and get them. So anyway, that concludes today. What I want to say is a massive thanks to our first guest, Brian Power.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you, sir. And thank you very much to Gaby Brenard.
Thank you.
Gaby, good luck with your fight, young man.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I just hope it all goes well on the day, and good luck to everyone. Thanks everyone for watching. Sandy's Bash Blog 4. It's been absolutely emotional. Thanks for coming. And one big oosh.
Oosh.
Oosh.